This Steve Jones Show podcast is now loading. The Steve Jones Show podcast is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, and Brewers Outlet. Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Brewers Outlet, Sunbury Motor Company, and Purdy Insurance. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
And this half hour brought to you by Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. Auto, home, light, business, boat, motorcycle, RV, and yes, even Medicare products. And they handle all sorts of insurance needs. They do everything they can to make sure you're fully insured. And they also do everything they can to make sure they save you money wherever they can, because customer service means everything to them. At Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury, go to purdyinsurance.com. And very pleased to be joined by great friend of the show, the outstanding Bob Nightengale, USA Today. Bob, welcome back. Great to have you with us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Dave.
I have to start with the tale of woe. The Colorado Rockies, who are 8-42 at this point, and they've lost 104 games in the previous two seasons entering this one, haven't made the playoffs since 2018. When you look at that franchise, what are the issues? Is it ownership? Is it management? What is it?
Yeah, I mean, some of it just loyalty, where they just don't fire people. I mean, they fired Buddy Black last week, and that was kind of a big move for them. But yeah, I mean, for a team that's finishing last every year with one of the worst records, because you have the high draft pick every year, they haven't capitalized on it. I mean, a team like the Dodgers, who are drafting almost last, every year, they're coming up with better players. And that shouldn't happen. So, I know the altitude and stuff is a factor. But, yeah, they just haven't developed or drafted the right guys.
Yet they're still drawing over 2 to 2.5 million fans per year. So, when you look at their attendance now, is there any drop-off where the fans are basically saying, hey, look, we kind of had enough ourselves?
A little bit. There has been a drop-off this year, noticeable one. But it's such a great ballpark right in the middle of downtown. And it's become like a huge party atmosphere. So people go there just to kind of party and hang out. And whatever they see in the field, it's just like, okay. Something like going on in the distance. But no, they used to love being there. A little bit like when the Cubs used to be awful and people went to Wrigley Field. Very, very similar.
Look, 6 teams every year are going to finish in last place. I mean, that's just the nature of how seasons play out. But this is historically bad for them along the way. When you look at their situation, how bad is it for baseball that because the White Sox were bad last year and they're still not great this year, but is it bad for baseball that somebody's that bad?
Oh, it is. I mean, you want big thing is you want every team to have a chance to win. That's what they always preach, competitive balance. It took forever for someone losing 110 games, and now there's a White Sox, getting to the 121 level last year. Right now, the Rockies may be over 130. But no, not to be this bad. I mean, it's not good for baseball. When you're not going to win night after night, and they're getting blown out. I mean, the White Sox last year lost a lot of close games.
Yes,
these guys are getting blown out in a ton of them.
Yeah, no, I saw the White Sox in person a couple of weeks ago at Fenway, Bob. You know what struck me about them? I thought their pitching was very good. In fact, I thought their pitching that weekend was very good. I just didn't think they had enough offense. I mean, I thought it was just going to be one of those. There was actually some elements of the White Sox you can build around.
No, I agree. Yeah, there's got a couple of nice young starters there. But they're hoping for is like Luis Robert Jr. in the center fielder to at least step up a little bit so they can trade him, get something for him. But you're right. They're in games because of that pitching, and some better vibe in the clubhouse. I think they're on the same pace as last year. But I don't see them having a big nosedive in the second half like they did a year ago.
All right. I hate to keep sticking on the tough side. I'll get to the positives because there are plenty of positives. But, of course, there was the rumor about Paul Skeens and whether the Pirates would deal him or not. And Ben Cherington had to shut that down. When you see stuff like that, and especially the way the Pirates have handled the off-the-field stuff this year, which is also, in my opinion, historically bad, what's your thoughts on that franchise and where they are? I mean, they fired Derek Shelton, and I don't think you really have much to do with the winning or losing.
No, I mean, you just can't trade Skeens. I mean, a generational arm like that, the fans that go ballistic. I don't care who you get back. You're just talking about prospects. I mean, even the Washington Nationals, they got all those prospects in the Juan Soto trade. It's not like they've been in the playoffs since. So, I don't think there's any way you can trade Skeens. Maybe in a couple of years, if you want to think about it. But when he's not making money, when he's such an iconic arm already, figure in the game, you just can't do that to the fans.
How is the sport hanging in financially because of what's happened with the regional networks? Because teams were relying on a lot of money from regional networks to take care of things like payroll and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, attendance is definitely up. I mean, last weekend was their biggest pre-Memorial weekend since 2012.
Yep.
So, it's really big difference. The TV money, you're right, isn't great like it's supposed to be. Teams are making $35-40 million in some of these cases, but it's still at the gate. It's been good, and I think it's only going to get better TV wise.
Give me a couple of fun stories in the game right now that have really intrigued you.
I think only Detroit Tigers. I mean, that's a great sports town, and that was there a lot when they're going great guns and spent a lot of time there. When they swept the ALCS in 2006 and 11, and then it's kind of sad to see what happened in the World Series. But these guys, that's a great sports town. They've gone through some rough patches, and you look at them now. So I think the best team in the American League, and you can argue that they might be the best team in baseball. The other storyline is probably, the Dodgers. Everybody's worried about the Dodgers ruining the game, and look at them. I mean, they're so messed up pitching wise. We'll see if they even win the division, but it's they got a lot of flaws for being a team with a $300 million payroll.
What does this tell us, if anything, about A.J. Hinch? Because we know what happened with the Astros and how it went down, and now here he is with Detroit. What does it tell us about him and his ability to handle teams?
Yeah, he's used to rebuilds. I mean, he was in the rebuilding situation there in Houston, when they were losing 110 games a year, and kind of rode that out. And now he's doing the same thing. Do the same thing here. So I think it's a situation where he's perfect for the young guys.
How do you view the Mets right now? They just went through the series with the Yankees and the Red Sox. How do you view them to this point? Because Cohen did spend a lot of money.
Yeah, spent a lot of money, and money spent on money was Juan Soto, who's looked absolutely mediocre, and I don't buy this thing. It's like, it takes time to get adjusted when you're a big free agent, new city. He was already in New York last year, so it wasn't like a Devin Williams going from Milwaukee to New York, that sort of thing. So we'll see what happens. I think people in New York, and I was just there, Steve, is the writers are kind of stunned how badly he's played. He's been kind of a loner. I said, well, you know what? He was kind of like that guy in San Diego when they had their only full season with the Padres. They didn't make the playoffs, and he was a loner there and muffled some veterans along the way.
Well, it's interesting because the last time we talked, you brought up San Diego about Juan Soto. It's interesting that theme has continued for him. It just seems to me like he's one of those guys that needs to be in the right situation. And when he's in the right situation, he's really good. When he's not one that he's comfortable with, he doesn't play well at all.
No, he hasn't. And, you think Lindor and Alonso take the pressure off him, but, he's been very quiet. The broadcasters there say that, he'll take the last bus to the ballpark and then kind of just sit by himself, even with other players around. I saw him in Phoenix, and I hardly saw him interacting with any of his teammates, before the game. So, something's not right there.
Yeah, no question. You brought up a hot team in the Tigers. A team that has caught fire in the last 3 weeks has been the Minnesota Twins. What's been your thought on them? Because they were mediocre to start with, and all of a sudden they found a gear.
Yeah, they got help, and the pitching was on fire. So, the pitching kind of carried them. Yeah, and then they still, Carlos Correa's just come up the deal now. Buxton was playing well, Lewis. So it's a good team when they're healthy, but they're just never healthy. But hey, the AL Central is a lot better than people think. People used to say it's the same as the NL Central. The NL Central is much worse. So even during their 13-game winning streak, I think they only picked up, like 3 games in the standings on the Tigers. The Tigers are so good, so is Cleveland, so is Kansas City.
How interested are you about how the Phillies will adjust without Alvarado over 80 games? Because if they make the playoffs, they're not going to have him in the playoffs either.
No, I think they got to go get some help. They were looking for some help anyway. Now they're really much more aggressive. They've reached out to David Robertson. So a few teams, he wanted $15 million to come back at one point, and no one was going to give him that. So I think they'll be in the, with St. Louis Cardinals, once they start losing here, they'll trade Ryan Helsley, that sort of thing. And maybe, get some guys too from the Baltimore Orioles, maybe Finnegan for the Nationals. So I think they may have to sacrifice a piece of the future to get a reliever right now, because that window's starting to close a little bit. That's going to be an older team.
Exactly. When Tristan Casas got hurt, the first guy I thought of was, hey, how about Anthony Rizzo? Why is Rizzo still unsigned in your mind at this stage? I mean, I know he's 35, I got it, but he makes an infield better just by showing up.
Yeah, I mean, it slipped a little bit the last couple of years. I got to think that when teams reached out, he had a price tag that they don't want. I don't know whether it's, $10 million or $5 million. But it's almost like, okay, if you don't meet it, I'll just as soon stay home. And I think now he's, getting to that point where, now you miss all spring, and, who knows how long it will take to get back. I don't think people think he can miss that much time, step in the lineup and help a win.
This is the pivotal time right here. I usually refer to this time between now and about the 4th of July as like the third round of a major golf tournament. It's moving day. Who do you have in your eye on moving day plus and somebody who's got to move now or else they're going to be left behind?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Padres got to find out who they are.
Yes.
I got to think the Texas Rangers. I mean, they're wasting a lot of good pitching. They got to start getting gear there. They want to stay around with the, in that division, particularly Seattle Mariners. I got to think they got to, get moving here, or else they're going to be left in the dust. Because, Houston's so good and everything else. Oakland's better, Anaheim's better. So I think they're kind of in the crossroads right now. Then we'll see about the others. Still early. You got the extra playoff rounds. I think hey, when Atlanta's done and came back from the dead there, now of course they're going to have Acuna back this weekend. Strider just came back, so I think it's going to be kind of fascinating to see what they do with this next month.
Bob, great as always. I know you're in the middle of getting something done right now. We appreciate the fact you carved out a couple of minutes for us. Thanks so much.
Sure, my pleasure. Take care, Steve.
And that's Bob Nightengale, USA Today, talking Major League Baseball. This half hour brought to you by our good friends at Purdy Insurance. Market Street in Sunbury, go to purdyinsurance.com. Auto, home, life, business, boat, motorcycle, RV, yes, Medicare products. I mean, they handle it all. They always make sure that you're fully insured, but they also do everything they can to find ways to save you money so you get the best deal on your insurance, because customer service means everything to them. Just really, really good people that happen to be great pros. That's all at Purdy Insurance. Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com as we continue here on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Hi, this is Season. For over 100 years, the Purdy Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses of the greater Susquehanna Valley and beyond. With the experience of our trained and knowledgeable staff, you can rest assured that your needs will be evaluated and met by some of the industry's best representatives. No matter what your insurance needs are, call Purdy Insurance today at 570-286-5855. Visit our website at purdyinsurance.com or check us out on Facebook to see what we can do for you.
The two huge positives of the show today have been Bob Nightengale being on the show, and we found out that Greg Wetzel just didn't punch in this morning and then go to the golf course. He actually punched in and worked. Those are the positives I've taken out of it. I don't know about you, Todd.
I'm trying to find another one.
Is the suit still in the office, or is he gone for the day?
I have not seen him. His car's out there.
Oh.
But I have not seen him.
Thought maybe we had another positive. Oh, well. Now, believe it or not, okay, we've got another one of those days, right? Okay. And tomorrow should be a little bit, maybe. But then Sunday and Monday of this holiday weekend look pretty darn good. Really good. In fact, Tuesday looks good, too, next week. But, again, you have to go back to work on Tuesday. But the weather for on Sunday and Monday of Memorial Day weekend looks pretty darn good. I mean, I don't know if you're going to go out, Todd, do any kind of barbecue or anything like that.
Nope. Or got to work.
You have to work.
Hey, yeah. The rain's pushed everything back baseball ways to like Monday and Tuesday this week for districts.
Well, it figures. Yep. No. I'm saying that figures. Yeah. You know, I mean that is. I get it.
I'd be a rich man if I could control Mother Nature.
Well, I understand. Believe me, I do.
Yeah.
I understand. I'll say this because this is what people will ask me. What do I do at this time of the year besides doing the show and so forth? Because I think people are very anxious to find out if I'm staying off the streets. And I mean, there's certain things. I just got back from Chicago, and I was in San Antonio before that, and I was in Boston before that, and I was in upstate New York before that. So I've been on the go in the last month and a half. I mean, go. I've traveled so many places, but I've been working on football and doing all my preliminary work for football, which I finished earlier today, all 12 teams. Okay, so that part's done. The next thing I'll work on will be the Spikes, and I do have the preliminary roster for them. And I'll work on that the next couple of days. Then I'll finally get to basketball. And I've waited on basketball because I just don't know what, at this moment, how set rosters are because of the draft. And there's still a few players in the transfer portal, but because of the draft. So I've got to wait a little bit on that one. But basketball, it doesn't take long to do that. There's only 12 players on each team. So not that bad. But that's what I do this time of the year. I think people are always surprised to hear how much pre-work you do for seasons and so forth. Because if I can do it now, heights, weights, hometowns, career highs, career longs, things like that, 20-point games, career high points, rebounds, if I can do that now and everybody starts the season at 0, it really cuts down on some time-consuming stuff. That way, when I get to the week of games, whether it's football or basketball, it makes the preparation easier because some of the time-consuming stuff's out of the way. You know, stuff that's not going to change, like their hometown, their height, their weight. It's not going to change. I mean, so that to me is that time-consuming stuff where the week of the game, like, well, you know, you don't want to, quote, take time at doing something you could have done earlier in the year, and that's how I approach it.
And I mean, the way last season went and the way it looks like this year is going to go, you're going to be doing both sports for 3.5 months.
I did both sports for, 2.5 months last year?
Yeah, in the I guess that is 2.5 months, but in the mid-January.
But it was like November 4th. This year the opener will be November 3rd. Penn State's going to open on the Monday. And last year it went to January 9th, and I had a game on the 12th with Oregon. So it went from that weekend, which was October 31st, right? I'm trying to think. Maybe it was November 2nd. November 2nd to January 12th. I mean, it's 2.5 months, Todd, where you're doing both. And so, and it's not difficult to do both. So please, it's not a complaint. But because I did all the pre-work ahead of time, where now I'm just doing a lot of updating, it really made it almost a piece of cake to do. Because I did all the other work ahead of time. And that's why I do it now. And it keeps me off the streets.
Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Purdy Insurance, Brewers Outlet, and Sunbury Motor Company. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
And this half hour being brought to you by, as we head into the Memorial Day weekend, Brewers Outlet. Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. Imports, domestics, microbrews. The best selection of beer anywhere. Wine coolers. Water. Soft drinks. Snacks. They roast their peanuts fresh and hot every day. 6 great flavors of slushies. And ready-to-drink cocktails. Jack Daniels, Crown Royal, High Noon. And the pickle bar led by my 2 personal favorites, the Barrels and the Dills, indeed second to none. It is all at Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. I did not get a hold of the King, so I don't know if we...
Well, the King is with us right now.
Oh, he's here. There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, the straw that stirs the drink, the King.
What up? How's it going?
Good. Good. You know, spent part of the week in Chicago, and
What are you doing in Chicago?
Big Ten announcers got together and did a golf outing.
How'd you do?
What did I shoot? 86? So
For 9 holes or 18?
I believe it was for 18. The wind chill was 42.
Jeez.
Right? And I got to the last 3 holes, and I'm playing well. I mean, it's about the way I played the last couple of years. So I was playing about the way I usually play. I got to 18, and I hit a drive. It was fine. It's on the left-hand side in the fairway. But when I went up to hit the ball, I was shivering. Like, oh, really?
At your age.
My age was 42 was the wind chill. We all were
You have
cold.
to drink a hot toddy when you're done?
What we did was Ted Albrecht played with the Bears back in the late 70s, early 80s. He was on Ditka's first Bears team.
Oh, okay.
And Ted's the analyst for the Northwestern Network with Dave Ennett, who's one of the absolutely greatest guys on the planet. And Dave, in fact, Dave was in my foursome. I had Mike Grimm of Minnesota, Dave Ennett from Northwestern, and Brian Barnhart from Illinois. And so we went to Ted's place, and it's referred to as the Pit. And Kev, first of all, the wall, the walls, the pictures, the pictures are unbelievable. George Halas with Ted, Walter Payton with Ted. It's like everywhere
he has
you look.
his own bar?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's incredible.
Oh, wow.
Incredible. So we went there. And, it was just salad and deep dish pizza and beverages. Okay? And it was phenomenal. I mean, we had a great time. Now, we were supposed to play a second round on Tuesday, but it was pouring. Thus, in an executive decision and by a 14-0 vote, we decided to have breakfast and then break up.
Oh, it sounds like you had fun.
Oh, no. This is like the third year in a row I've gone. I went to it when it was in Bloomington, Indiana 2 years ago. Last year was Columbus. This year was Chicago. Next year is Minnesota, and 2 years from now is Iowa.
When are you going to take me to the Masters?
I'd like to go to the Masters. I mean, I'm covering the U.S. Open next month.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, I've covered 5 U.S. Opens, 4 men's U.S. Opens, and 1 women's U.S. Open.
Who's the coolest golfer?
The coolest golfer I ever interviewed?
Yeah.
Jack Nicklaus.
Okay, after him, somebody recent.
Rory McIlroy.
Really? He's a good guy?
Yeah, I liked McIlroy a lot. I liked him. I like Ricky Fowler too. I thought Fowler was great to deal with. Never been around Scotty Scheffler, so I don't know. So this will be the first time I'm around him.
Did you see him playing pickleball?
No, I did not.
He's really good.
Well, I can imagine.
Did you hear about the? I'm getting like I'm hearing myself talk.
Do you need to call back? Do you need to call back? Because you sound fine, but you can call back and maybe you'll sound better.
No, it does it every time. That's all right.
Oh, okay.
I'm not on long enough to go right out of time. The ratings last weekend that the WNBA where Caitlin Clark beat out the NBA playoffs.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
No good. No good for them. That's great.
They went head to head with one of the playoff games and the WNBA. I was stunned by that. The NBA ratings aren't very good.
Oh no. And look, this is the scenario that they would never admit. But let's face it, they've got to be scared to death of this. That the Indiana Pacers beat the Knicks. If the Indiana Pacers beat the Knicks, it doesn't matter who wins the other side. You either have the Indiana Pacers against the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Indiana Pacers against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm sorry, it's a ratings disaster.
Yeah, it's not. None of them are media markets at all. You can always count on like a Boston team or a New York team or an LA team.
Or Golden State. Golden State. Well,
Golden State because of the players,
Curry.
That they're household names.
Yep.
But, I mean, Oklahoma City is a tremendous basketball team.
No doubt.
And you can maybe name one guy on the team, and he's got like 3 letters. What's his name?
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA.
Yeah, and he's not even an American player. He's from France or whatever. So, to me, it's good because it creates parity. You can't have the same teams every year, but I mean, I don't count the Knicks out yet. You know?
Oh, no, I haven't. I have not counted the Knicks out. I'm saying that's the scenario they fear.
Well, yeah.
From a TV
talk about the Pacers at all.
From a TV ratings point of view, that's the scenario they fear. I'm not saying the Knicks are far from out of it. They can probably win the next 4 games. But I'm saying that for the NBA, they're going to be sitting there going, "Oh, we do not need Indiana in the finals."
And there is no league that manipulates their their brand more than the NBA.
Oh,
I mean,
because they have to. They have to. They do this in-season tournament because they need a gimmick. The disaster
was the Lakers, you know, get knocked out so quickly. They didn't want that. That thing stunk of with what's his name? I can't pronounce all these.
Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic.
Yeah. Him going to in a trade that was just so one-sided. It was like, no, the NBA said they got to do this. We got to get him in LA with LeBron, and they need to make a run in the playoffs, and our ratings will go through the roof. And they got their butts kicked.
Yeah.
You know, that was a disaster for them. The Celtics getting their butts kicked, that was a disaster for them.
Yep.
Albeit with the Knicks, I don't know who they would rather have in there, the Knicks or the Celtics from the East. But
the Celtics, when they were in the finals last year with Dallas, the ratings were good, not great.
Right.
When the Celtics were in
because of Dallas too.
Right.
I mean, they just weren't that good.
When
if
the
it
Celtics,
was LA and the Boston, it would have been.
When the Celtics were in the finals with Golden State, when the Warriors beat them, the ratings were great.
Yeah.
I mean, so you have to have a combination because no matter what, the Knicks may get in, and the NBA will breathe a sigh of relief, but the ratings still aren't going to be great because the other side isn't going to draw anybody. You could sit there and jump up and down. We got the MVP. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, Anthony Edwards is out there complaining the other day in the postgame, I'm not getting enough shots. Well, last night he took 19 shots in the first half and had 15 points. Do you know how bad that is to have fewer points than shots? That's not good.
Well, and I heard a plus-minus rating today, and his plus-minus is just awful.
Yeah, sure it is.
And they named the 3 players for Oklahoma City, and their plus-minus was between 26 and 32.
Right.
You know, and when Anthony Edwards is on the court, they're like a negative 18 or something. It's not all his fault, you know. You can't. There's 4 other guys out there at the same time, but I'm surprised at how poor Minnesota's played so far.
I think part of that is
about the NBA, except I do watch the playoffs, and I'm like, I mean, they're just getting killed.
Well, part of that is, I think, how good Oklahoma City is.
They're very good.
Sometimes
and they're young, and they're going to be around for a long time.
Sometimes it's the other guy. I mean, Chet Holmgren's a difficult matchup for Gobert because it's always about matchups. I mean, it's you could sit there and you could play the silly game on radio like, I think it's Anthony Edwards' team. I don't care whose team it is. What's the matchup? Tell me what the matchups are. Okay.
That's very true, but one team looks like they have all the energy in the world, and the other team looks like they're going through the motions, and that's I don't know if it's coaching. That's not even matchups. That's just like maybe they're just too tired or they're satisfied with what they've done. Where OKC looks like we want to win this whole thing. And nothing's going to get in our way, you know.
Or the other part is that matchups that were favorable to you in other series, like you don't match up right with this team. I mean, they've got guys that either have size or quickness, or they wear you out offensively. Sometimes it's just that and you're spending half your time trying to figure out, well, how the heck do we work around this? Because one of the things that you have to do is, is that when you are coaching, you got to figure out what your deficiencies are and how do you reduce them. And sometimes you're playing an opponent where, like, the matchup's so bad that you can't mask your deficiencies. No matter how hard you try. Minnesota may be in that spot.
Well, they were talking about that, and with Bronson, that he is not a good defensive player at all.
Oh, no.
And Indiana is exposing that.
Well, Indiana, this is what Indiana does, all right? Indiana plays with tremendous pace. Yeah. I mean, they just run and go and run and go, and they're deep. So, in other words, they can go to their bench and they can bring in more guys that are going to run and go. By the time you get to the fourth quarter, you're tired when you're playing them. I mean, you get tired playing them because you're spending the whole time trying to sprint back against a team that is just push, push, push all the time.
Which explains why they've won games in the last 30 seconds like 3 or 4 times. The other team's dead. I mean, they blew the Knicks out in overtime. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I think I watched a lot of the series before with Indiana. They're very good.
Yeah.
They've got no credit whatsoever. Nobody's even talked about them.
Of course they don't talk about them. The only thing that ESPN knows how to talk about are the Lakers. You can't just keep talking about the Lakers over and over and over and over again. Guess what? 90+% of the country can give a darn about the Lakers.
Well,
10% care.
Cowboys in football.
Cowboys. Same thing with the Cowboys.
They haven't won squat, in like 30 years. And every year, Jimmy Jones, and who cares?
Exactly.
Suck every year, and then they start the year 7-0, and they end the year, 7-12 or 7-10. I don't even know how many games they play anymore. But
that's
they
it.
Do it every year, the same thing. And
look, there are some things, for example, that draw a rating. So let's take Tom Brady, LeBron James, and Tiger Woods. So let's take them to start, okay? Mm-hmm. What do they all have in common? They have a segment of the population out there that loves them, and they're going to watch them because they love them. You also have a segment of the population that can't stand the three of them and want to see them crash and burn competitively. But guess what the two sides have in common? They both watch.
Yeah.
Right? They're both watching for different reasons, but they're both watching. And the Lakers and Cowboys sort of have that, but as time has gone, it's been so long since the Cowboys have done anything. And it's been so long, really, since the Lakers did anything. I really don't care about what they did in the COVID thing. Nobody cares.
No.
Right? It's been a long time since they've done anything. And people are like, yeah, so what? It's getting to the point where they're just another team.
They are just another team. They have done nothing. They did nothing with LeBron. They won in that little, what they call it.
Well, the in-season tournament? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a gimmick.
And
that's a gimmick.
When they won the championship in the bubble down there.
Yeah, right.
Nobody could come and go. And
I know.
The Cowboys, I think people watch because they're on. They're on all the time, and people watch them to watch them lose, just because it's funny,
Yeah.
There's no question Dak Prescott will be injured probably by the 8th game, and he'll be out for the year again. And they can never keep anyone healthy. They were fun to watch when they had Tony Romo.
Yeah,
they were more unpredictable, but then they would cough it up in the playoffs every year. Remember Romo dropping the field
against
goal?
Seattle? Against Seattle,
he drops the ball. It's like, wow, they can't get out of their own way.
Nope.
I don't see them winning anything for a long time. I don't. But they're the same thing as the Lakers. The Lakers, the Cowboys, and hockey. I mean, you guys would be the perfect people to ask. When's Pittsburgh going to make a move? The Penguins.
Well, I mean, they changed coaches. I mean, that's the one thing they've done. But
when's the last time they were in the playoffs?
2019.
Yeah,
I think.
And you're still riding Crosby and Malkin and Letang, and it's like, hey, I don't. That wouldn't fly in New York or Boston or any place like that with a fan base. It'd be like, look, you've got to make the playoffs. Sidney Crosby hasn't won anything in a long, long time. He's a great hockey player, but when you have three guys like that are first ballot Hall of Famers and you can't even make the playoffs, you got to make some moves.
Yeah, I took the grandkids to Pittsburgh to see them play Ottawa. And Ottawa won the game 5-0. It's like, got to the third period, everybody's yelling, "Shoot!"
Anymore.
Shoot!
I know you have loyalty to them, but holy crap! I mean, Denmark beat Canada yesterday.
Yeah.
Even though Denmark played hockey,
Yeah. Well,
they
you know what?
The stats in the World Hockey Championships, and Denmark has never won one medal ever. And Canada's got like 50-something combined medals, and Denmark beat them 3-1, 2-1.
They got all their
Crosby and the whole cast of characters. So.
Well, the one thing I think the Pittsburgh people will tell you is that the Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Barron, the Baby Pens, their AHL team. I guess they've got a lot of talent on that team, and they feel it's almost to the point where they're about to make the move up. And so I'm just saying. I'm just saying
that's.
I love
watching Sidney Crosby play hockey. I think
so. Do I? Yeah.
And he actually trained with a guy. I used to belong to a gym here. The guy actually wanted me to teach classes or TR Spalding, something like that, whatever. And I was watching a program, and it was Crosby and maybe Kane. No, Tao. The kid from Chicago.
Kane? Patrick Kane?
Not Patrick Kane, the other one. Tiao, it doesn't matter. They were training, and it was Sidney Crosby, and they said, we found and it was friggin' TR was their trainer.
You talking about Taves, Jonathan Taves? Talking about Jonathan Taves? You talking about Taves?
Taves, yeah, that's him. Yeah.
He was the captain of the Blackhawks.
I mean, back then, they were wicked good. Now, I mean, Crosby's fun to watch, but is it the surrounding? They have not built anything
deep
around him.
They're not.
He can't win by himself.
Malkin was hurt a lot. Their second and third lines really suffered, and that was a big part of it for them. And their goaltending needs.
Is Lemieux still the president?
He's still a part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, God, he was good.
Oh, Lemieux. Oh, unbelievable.
If he didn't hurt his back, he'd have been.
And cancer.
He what?
And cancer. He had to beat cancer, too.
Yeah. Well, when he was playing, he originally hurt his back, and he would miss a lot of time.
Right, but then when he was playing, he got cancer and missed time.
Really? What kind of cancer did he have?
Lymphoma.
Ooh.
And he got through it.
Yeah. Treatable.
Yeah, he got through it.
Cancer's cancer.
Yep.
But wow.
Yeah. So I mean, he had to get through.
What else is new? So.
Right now, I'm actually gonna put my feet up for the weekend. I've got all my football work is done.
Good.
I've got some baseball work I want to do because the season starts June 6th. I'm going to MC Special Olympics opening ceremony. I'm going to do that, and I'm in the coaches versus cancer golf tournament next Friday. I'll be back in time to do the show because I'm in the morning round. And then I get the U.S. Open after that, plus then more baseball.
God, what a life. I got to go to a wake. So.
Oh, great. Well, I've got a couple of those. I've gone to a couple of those, so it's like never easy.
Know. It's always sad. It's great having 3 days off. I can't wait to retire, so whatever.
When are you going to retire?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I've got a plan B and a plan C, so basically I've got 3 options now. So
yeah.
Part of it's scary to me. I love the holiday and having time off. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm afraid of what it would be like to, not have anything to do every day.
Right. Exactly.
I'm not excited about that at all. That doesn't thrill me. I don't.
Right.
I need to have a job. I could be Jonathan the Husky,
Sure.
Wear the costume and jump up and down. I mean, I could work at the gym I belong to because I go there at 5 in the morning, so I could be the guy who opens it. That would be cool.
Yeah.
You need a reason to take a shower, and get up every day and take a shower. And I don't want to be that guy that just gets up and watches Good Morning America.
Yeah, I got you. Yep, I hear you. That's me. I've got plenty of things to do, which is good.